he will be a good captain. I choose for one reason. In the last season, when we were in big trouble, in results, in period November, December, January, we didn't win games, always he was there. Always he was there. Train every day. Massage, exhausted. We have just 13, 14 players in that moment, plus academy. And every 3 days I lose a game, and always was there. And he's the player that in my period here is the player who played more games, more minutes with me. So all have been available, for his nature, physicality, and for his generosity. When he doesn't play, always the biggest smile, always want to try to help. He play in left back, I'm going to play left back. I'm going to play right back, I'm playing right back. Playing a winger, right winger, play there. Holding midfielder. So it doesn't matter positions, always thinking what is the best for the team. And all his attributes, I said, he will be a good captain. And he's been a really good captain.
Welcome back, football fans. Today we dive deep into the unfolding saga of one of Manchester City's most influential figures, Bernardo Silva. Over nearly a decade, he's become a linchpin for Pep Guardiola's side. But now, with contract talks, captaincy changes, and swirling transfer rumors, his story is far from settled. In this video, we'll trace his journey at City, examine the recent developments in 2025, and explore what might lie ahead in 2026 and beyond. Stick with us. This is not just about rumors. It's about legacy, loyalty, ambition, and the crossroads of a superstar. Let's begin. To understand the current tension, we have to go back to how Bernardo Silva arrived on the English stage. The Portuguese midfielder, known for his dribbling, vision, and tireless engine, first caught major European attention at AS Monaco. In 2017, Manchester City made a bold move. They paid roughly $50 million to bring him to the Etihad. From that moment, his City career was built on gradual progression. Not fireworks on day one, but consistency, adaptability, and humility. Over the seasons, he became a trusted piece in Guardiola's system. Able to drift, press, link, and create. His statistical contributions grew, but even more, his leadership and presence in the dressing room became increasingly valued. By 2025, he's crossed a milestone few expect. Over 400 appearances for Manchester City. He's secured multiple Premier League titles, domestic cups, and the coveted Champions League. Yet among the silverware, he's also navigated contract renewals, speculation, and changing roles. That City has entrusted him with duties beyond the pitch. Speaks volumes. In summer 2025, following Kevin De Bruyne's exit, Bernardo was handed the captain's armband, a symbolic crowning of his status. But as we'll see, the timing of that honor coincides with deeper plotlines in his career's next chapter. Let's paint the backdrop of mid-2025. Manchester City faced a leadership vacuum. Kevin De Bruyne departed, and Kyle Walker had already requested his way out. Guardiola, moving away from letting players pick their own captain, decided he'd take control. He selected a captaincy group, and at the head of it, Bernardo Silva. Speaking about that decision, Bernardo acknowledged his commitment, at least for the 2025-26 season. This season for sure will be at City, I'm going to stay, he affirmed. He also hinted at the wider picture. I know what I'm going to do in the long term, but it's not the time to talk about that. That balance between certainty and withholding is the first tension point in this story. Guardiola too defended his decision. After frustration with last season, he said, "I'm the manager this season. For the first time in my career, I decided it would be my captain." He made clear that he wanted to rewrite the leadership dynamic. He also referenced others like Ruben Dias, Rodri, and Ilkay Gundogan, those senior figures playing supporting roles in this transition. Yet, beneath the surface, contract pressure looms. As of 2025, Bernardo has only 1 year left on his deal. That puts him in a delicate position. He can stay, negotiate an extension, or depart on a free next summer. Clubs, fans, and pundits all know it. The question becomes, what does Bernardo want? What does City want? And who is waiting in the wings? In September 2025, reports emerged that Benfica's presidential candidate João Noronha Lopes claimed a contract was waiting for Bernardo if he wished to return to Lisbon. Maybe even in January 2026. It's a bold claim, perhaps more political than practical, but it reflects how deeply the story of his next move is embedded in his identity and home roots. Adding fuel to the fire, Benfica's interest is hardly a secret. Bernardo has spoken before about wanting one day to return to Benfica. That narrative, the prodigal son returning, will always be compelling to Portuguese fans. But in practice, whether it's Benfica, Juventus, or somewhere else, the chessboard is increasingly set. Let's shift focus to reported interest in Bernardo as his contract edges closer to expiry. By late 2025, rumors surfaced that Juventus were eyeing the Portuguese star in a free transfer move for summer 2026. With his City contract ending in June 2026, the time is ripe for negotiations behind closed doors. And Juventus, inspired by other free signings like De Bruyne's move to Napoli, are laying early groundwork. Juventus see an opportunity. If Bernardo chooses a new challenge in Serie A, they want to be ready. They'll hope he has enough hunger left at 31, turning 32 in August, to contest in Italy, rather than moving to the Middle East or MLS. The idea is bold, but plausible. And it's not just Juventus. Across Europe, clubs watching his situation may be preparing moves. Quietly, especially since he's a high-impact player, who at this point would command no transfer fee. Teams may view him as a rare free asset. Still, the balancing act is delicate. Bernardo is not yet past his best. But he's no longer young. The questions abound. Will he stay loyal and sign an extension with City? Or take a final leap into a new league before the inevitable winding down? City will also consider whether to keep, sell now if possible, or let him walk. That power dynamic is key. An interesting subplot: in past seasons, Bernardo had multiple options, but consistently chose City. I've had options in the past, and this year, my option is to stay at Man City, he said. That suggests a strong emotional tie, not just financial, but it also implies that, when push comes to shove, he will weigh all offers, including a free destination, carefully. So, the summer of 2026 could well be one of the most pivotal junctures in his career. Stay at the club that defined him, or start a new chapter in a different league. At the heart of this story is identity, both personal and sporting. Bernardo is more than a City player. He's a Portuguese icon, a midfielder whose style blends heart and art. But a player's identity also includes choices, transitions, and what they leave behind. If he leaves City, he risks losing the stability and role he's carved out. He risks stepping into a new system, new teammates, new expectations. At Juventus, for example, he might be key, but also under pressure to lead, deliver, and adapt in Serie A's slower, tactical context. And the fans will judge quickly. But staying at City isn't a guarantee either. If contracts aren't renewed, or if Guardiola's vision changes, Bernardo could find himself sidelined or less central. With young stars rising, squad rotation, and eventual rebuilds, even legends must guard their legacy. Then there's the emotional pull of Benfica. Returning to your boyhood or aspirational club has romance, but it also brings scrutiny. Would he be accepted? Can the club provide competitive levels? Would that move be perceived as sentimental or strategic? This tension is what gives this narrative dramatic weight. It's not just about a transfer, it's about legacy, timing, loyalty, ambition, and the final arc of a career. We're watching as Bernardo weighs his options. Meanwhile, clubs are lining up, and City must decide whether to push hard for an extension, let him go free, or even cash in now if opportunity arises. In many ways, this is the classic dilemma of an elite player at the peak edge. Stay where you are loved and proven, or chase new challenges while still capable. The stakes are high because this decision will shape how he is remembered. To further anchor the emotional through line, let's revisit a few turning moments that crystallize why Bernardo's decisions matter so much. Contract countdown. As his contract runs to June 2026, time becomes a scarce resource. Each passing week erodes negotiating power or opportunity. Clubs monitoring the situation know that, after January 2026, he becomes a free agent. That means City risk losing him for nothing, while he gains freedom to choose. Captaincy elevation. Being made captain in 2025 is more than symbolism. It's a signal from Guardiola and the club that Bernardo is central to their present and near future. But it also heightens expectations. A captain must lead on the pitch, in the locker room, manage pressure, and help steer the club's identity. Public references to exit options. The story about Benfica's presidential promise. A contract waiting gives a public voice to possibility. Whether realistic or political, it forces discourse into the open. A player's transfer is often kept private. This one is already in public view. Juventus' early approach. Juventus laying the groundwork isn't merely rumor. It means scouts, legal teams, and possibly direct conversations are happening behind closed doors. It forces a decision. Is this just leverage or a serious part? Bernardo's own statements. His phrase, "When time is due, I will talk about it," shows his strategic posture. He is not committing prematurely, but neither is he rejecting outright. That ambiguity is powerful and invites speculation, which keeps fans engaged. These inflection points are narrative peaks. When you tell this story to your audience, emphasize them, pause, let viewers imagine the pressure, visualize City boardrooms. See the internal conflict, that tension keeps retention high. As we wait for 2026's transfers and contract knife edges, here are the narrative threads to follow, and tips you can use to tease future content to retain your audience. Will Bernardo sign an extension? Any renewal talk or leaks will be headline material. If City push hard now or offer a short deal, it says a lot about their faith in his longevity. Will a club make a formal offer? Juventus is mentioned repeatedly. But what about clubs in Spain, Germany, or the Middle East? A surprise suitor could shift all expectations. When? And if? Public disclosures happen. Will he drop hints in interviews? Will agents or insiders leak terms? Watch for mid-season revelations. Those generate shareable content. How does he perform as captain? His on-field success or struggle in 2025-26 will color how fans view this era. If he leads City to trophies, the narrative becomes heroic legacy. If he falters, critics may argue it's time to move. Fan reaction and folklore shape. If he leaves, how do fans react? Will he be welcomed back? Will he be remembered as a one-club legend, or someone who left at the most precarious time? You can tease these questions at the end of your videos. Next time we'll examine whether City move aggressively to extend his deal, or whether Juventus's approach forces a final decision. That kind of cliffhanger works well to hook return views. Also consider bonus content. Top 5 Bernardo Silva moments at City. Hypothetical lineups. Bernardo in Italy, or what if he returns to Benfica? These frame the story tangibly. Hook example first 15 seconds. What if one of Manchester City's most loyal servants decides to walk away for free? In 2026, Bernardo Silva may face that choice. This is the story of legacy on the edge. Mid-video teaser to reduce drop-off. Later I'll show you 5 possible destinations for Bernardo. One of them may surprise you. Stick around. Transition to transfer rumors. Now that we know his contract is ticking down, let's explore who's circling him, and why Juventus could be just the start. Use these moments to reset attention, promise content, and re-engage viewers. As we bring this long-form story to a close, let's recap the narrative arc. Bernardo Silva arrived at Manchester City in 2017, steadily building influence and trust. By 2025, he had earned the captaincy and affirmed his intention to stay for that season, even as contract countdown looms. Rumors swirl that Juventus and others await his free transfer in 2026. Football Italia. Behind every rumor lies deeper questions. Loyalty versus ambition, identity versus practicality, timing versus risk. What he does next will define how fans remember him, as a legendary one-club man, or as a player who embraced a new challenge at the perfect moment. What will you bet on? A renewed City era? A bold Italian adventure? A poetic return to his Portuguese roots? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your predictions. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because the story of Bernardo Silva is far from over, and we'll be tracking every revelation